the spring training? How is it going? Obviously, there's always new guys.
Yeah.
Tell me about all.
Spring training is always so fun. You know, just to see everyone again. The first few days are just exciting to get outside. A lot of guys come from cold weather states. You know, they're not used to 75 degrees and sunny. They've been, dealing with snow and that kind of stuff. So it's just fun to see everyone's face. Like you said, there's new guys, always meeting, new players that we have or guys coming up from the minor leagues that are excited to be here. And it's a lot of fun. We've already, I guess, 4 or 5 games in now, so we're in full baseball mode. Only 3 weeks left of spring training, and then it's go time.
So how's it been to have David Price in the same locker here?
It's been a lot of fun. He's 2 lockers down from me, and he's an absolute pro. You can just tell the way he goes about his business. He knows his routine, and watched him throw. It's very effortless, but very, very good, very methodical. He's going to be an absolute great teammate and someone we can plug right into the rotation and know that. He's a Cy Young winner, so know that he's going to give us a good start every time out and compete for us, and someone that we're going to really like having on our side instead of the other side.
I know you guys lost some pieces. It's always sad to see some people go, but pretty much the whole team's still here. And then some pieces came back too, like Alex Wood.
Yeah. Well, Alex is one of my best friends I've ever had in baseball. Our wives are really good friends, so I'm absolutely just stoked to have him. I really do love Alex. And then as far as the core that you mentioned, we still have, Kershaw and Kinley in the bullpen and JT, Seager, Bellinger. Like, that core is still very much intact. And then you go out and get a Mookie Betts and a David Price and bring Alex Wood back and have all this young talent, flooding through our system. It's an unbelievably deep roster. And even going past our 40-man, how many guys we have in the minor leagues that are ready to make an impact in the big leagues right now. It's going to be a fun year.
Spring training, you've been doing this for a long time now. What's your been working on, your velocity? What's changing?
Yeah. For me, it's kind of more the same. It's stay healthy, always make sure I have 4 pitches working for me because that's my thing. I don't throw 95 miles an hour, so I have to get you out another way. For me, it's kind of throwing anything in any count, so making sure I have those 4 pitches honed in. And this year, you might have heard I'm working on a new changeup grip. I'm trying to make it more deceptive. I've had some success with my changeup, but I think it's been easy to pick up. I think we're trying to work on one that spins more like my fastball and has some more depth to it as opposed to side-to-side run. So that's kind of been priority 1, something that I can maybe show right-handed hitters as opposed to just the 2 breaking balls to be able to mix in that changeup as well. So that's priority 1. You're always working on stuff in spring training, but at the end of the day, it's about getting through it healthy, built up, have all your repertoire working, and that way when you get into a real game, into March and April, you're, full healthy and ready to go.
As far as the rules and the regulations, I know there's a lot of changes now with the pitching to only 3 guys. Have you guys been doing that lately, or you're still trying to figure things out with that?
I think everyone's kind of waiting to see what that looks like. The guy that probably affects the most on our team is a guy like Adam Kolarek, but I know he's faced a lot of righties in his live BPs and in the game, and he's working hard to be able to get righties out. I think he's just so good on lefties that you actually forget how good he was on right-handed hitters as well. He should be absolutely fine and another workhorse for us. I think you saw how good he was once we got him from Tampa. Other than that, I think we're all just kind of waiting to see how that plays out. It's a new strategy for sure, for managers and pitching coaches to deal with, and even for other opposing lineups, how you manipulate your roster. But I don't think it's really anything we'll see how it really goes until the season gets going.
And I'm sure you guys are probably kind of tired of the same questions with the Astros, but did it feel kind of like a closure to know that it wasn't you guys?
I think what we've all kind of said as a team is that we knew it was kind of going on in 2017, and then you kind of accepted it, and then those wounds were reopened, and we were all kind of battling with how we wanted to say it to the media. And then really where we got the closure was Justin Turner got together with the media and gave the most articulate response to basically the commissioner and the Astros scandal. And from there, we could just kind of point like, that's how we feel. Like, we all back up Justin, and what he said is how we feel. And that kind of gave us some closure. And now we can go play and focus on 2020. And, obviously it's not behind us, and it probably will be a black eye on baseball for most of this year and maybe for some of those guys' careers. But, as far as this team and the Dodgers and the roster that we have now, we're very much looking forward to the season coming up.
Because it's all mental and being around you guys for so long, and I know how stressful it is to make it to the World Series. So I'm glad that you guys are moving forward. That's awesome. Now let's talk about your show.
Yeah.
So how long the show has been going on for?
It's called the Big Swing Podcast. It's a podcast I do with my buddy back home in Houston named Cooper. And we just had our 1-year anniversary. So we've done a little over 50 shows. We do one a week on Wednesdays. And it's just a lot of fun. Obviously, my network is Dodgers. So a lot of it is baseball and Dodgers players. So we definitely have a heavy, Dodger following, but we try and mix it up. We've had Marines and Green Berets. We've had basketball players. We're trying to get music, we're trying to do a little bit of everything because I talk about baseball all day, every day. And, if we can change it up every now and then, great. But we know that, where our niche is definitely with Dodger baseball and baseball in general.
How did everything started, like the idea of doing it?
Yeah. It basically kind of came up with my buddy Cooper. He was a big podcast listener, and I'd never really given podcasts much of a chance. And I started listening to Pardon My Take, which is a podcast with Barstool Sports, and they're hilarious. And I wish I could be as candid and funny as they are. I got to keep it a little bit more politically correct. But I just kind of thought that between me and Cooper, we kind of had a fun banter back and forth where we could create something that some people might like to listen to. And as I touched on my network, the ability to get Kershaw, Justin Turner, Walker Buehler, these, mega stars in baseball to come giving, 30 to 45 minutes of their time for an interview and really open up in ways that you don't see all the time. I thought that, presented a good opportunity. So that's kind of how it came about.
That's so cool. So can you tell us what it is so everybody can watch it?
Yeah, Big Swing Podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, really anywhere you get podcasts. We put a few up on YouTube, but don't watch those. They're not very good. Those were our first try. We'll figure out YouTube later. But Apple Podcasts, Spotify, those are the main places.